My name is Christina. Standing in the grand entrance hall of the historic Evergreen Manor, I took a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest. The air was thick with tension as I looked at my family's shocked faces. I finally said, "I'm the owner. Celestial Properties is my company. I bought Evergreen Manor 2 months ago." The silence that followed was deafening. My sister, Isabella, stared at me, her mouth agape. Her fiancé, Alexander, looked utterly confused, shifting his gaze between us. My father's face turned pale, and my mother grabbed the back of a chair for support. It all started when I received a call from my mother. I was in my office in downtown Chicago, going over contracts for a new real estate project. "Christina, we need you to come home for dinner this Friday. There's something important to discuss," she said, her voice filled with an unusual excitement. I knew right away it had something to do with Isabella. Reluctantly, I agreed, canceling my plans with friends. When I arrived at our childhood home, Isabella was already there, looking radiant in a designer dress. Beside her was Alexander, a wealthy heir from a prominent family in New York. During dinner, Isabella showed off the huge diamond on her finger and announced they were getting married in 6 months. They had booked Evergreen Manor, the most prestigious wedding venue in the Midwest. As the conversation continued, I realized my parents were emptying their savings to pay for the wedding. I offered to help, but my father firmly refused, and Isabella added that some things were about dreams, not just money. When it came to the wedding party arrangements, I was named the last bridesmaid, an afterthought. Isabella even criticized my build and suggested alterations to the dress. I left that night feeling the familiar sting of exclusion. Growing up in the suburbs of Chicago, our family seemed perfect on the outside. My father was a well-known lawyer, and my mother was a successful businesswoman. But the signs of favoritism towards Isabella were obvious. For my 12th birthday, I got a set of practical study books, while on Isabella's 12th, she had a lavish party in a fancy hotel with a live band and a professional photographer. Isabella was the social one, with long, flowing brown hair and a charming smile. She was always the center of attention. My room was plain, filled with second-hand furniture and books from the library, while Isabella's room was constantly redecorated according to the latest trends. I focused on my studies and won many academic awards. In high school, I won a national math competition, but the awards ceremony clashed with Isabella's school play. My parents chose to go to her play, saying she needed their support more. I sat alone at the ceremony, watching other students' parents celebrate with them. When it came to college, I got into several top-tier universities, including Harvard and Stanford. But my parents had used most of my college fund for Isabella's dance classes and acting workshops. I had to take out loans and work part-time jobs to pay for my education at the University of Chicago. Meanwhile, Isabella went to a local art college and my parents covered all her expenses. After graduation, I faced many challenges in the real estate industry. As a young woman, I was often underestimated and dismissed. But I didn't give up. I met an experienced real estate agent named Victor, who became my mentor. He pushed me hard and taught me to be tough in this male-dominated field. By the time I was in my late 20s, I had built a successful real estate portfolio. I bought a modern penthouse in a renovated building and created a warm, inviting home for myself. I also surrounded myself with a group of good friends, like Lisa, a no-nonsense accountant, and David, a chef who always made sure I ate well. 3 weeks after Isabella's wedding announcement, I was looking at potential investment properties when I found a listing for Evergreen Manor. It was in financial trouble, but I saw its potential. I was torn between the business opportunity and my personal feelings. I called Victor for advice, and he told me to be honest with myself about my motivations. I also visited my grandmother, Beatrice, whose health was declining. She lived in a small cottage in the countryside. I told her about my discovery of Evergreen Manor. She said there was a difference between standing up for myself and seeking revenge. She asked me what I really wanted the outcome to be. After much thought, I decided to buy Evergreen Manor through an anonymous holding company, Celestial Properties. I negotiated the deal quickly, and within a few weeks, I became the owner. 2 weeks later, my phone started ringing non-stop with panicked messages from my family. Isabella was hysterical, saying the venue was reviewing all contracts. I pretended to help, but over the next few weeks, I introduced a series of complications like price increases and new rules. 3 weeks before the wedding, my grandmother's health took a turn for the worse. At her bedside, I confessed what I had done. She asked me how it felt, and I whispered that it felt hollow. She told me that only truth could heal. On the day before the wedding, I decided it was time for the truth. Standing in the grand hall of Evergreen Manor, I finally revealed my ownership. Isabella accused me of being jealous and trying to ruin her wedding. I couldn't hold back my emotions anymore. I told them about all the years of being overlooked, my college fund being emptied, and my achievements being ignored. My father finally admitted that they had failed me. My mother started crying, saying they didn't realize how their actions had affected me. Isabella, for the first time, seemed to see our family dynamic from a different perspective. I decided that the wedding would go ahead, but with conditions. I asked for a genuine acknowledgement of the favoritism, family therapy sessions, an upgrade of my role to maid of honor, and for my parents to accept my financial help. The next day, the wedding was beautiful. Standing beside Isabella as maid of honor, I felt a new connection forming. During her vows, she added a line about truly seeing the people we love. My grandmother watched the ceremony from a wheelchair, smiling proudly. She passed away 3 weeks later, but she lived long enough to see the beginning of our family's healing. 6 months after the wedding, we had a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. For the first time, I felt truly seen and valued in my family. 1 year after buying Evergreen Manor, I established the Beatrice Foundation, using part of the venue's profits to support underprivileged students. The journey from being an invisible daughter to a valued family member wasn't easy, and old patterns sometimes resurfaced. But the most important thing was that the fundamental change had occurred. Evergreen Manor, which once represented revenge, became a symbol of transformation. Have you ever had to make yourself seen in your family? Share your stories in the comments below. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Sometimes, the most difficult confrontations can lead to the most meaningful healing.